What up, Marsh Pod? Recording this the day before Valentine's Day. Galentine's Day for all you ladies out there. I think there's one in our little universe right now, so you. Exciting week ahead on the pod. I think we're going to have a guest on Thursday, I think. I won't say much more, but we're planning on starting to bring in some other voices, because as much as I'm sure you all just love hearing me, I think it'll be good to get some folks in here. So excited to start that. That's, like I said, probably Thursday, but we'll see how things kind of go up. We're always trying to adapt on the fly. Things can certainly change at the last minute. So won't say much more than that. Did want to get to, I know we've got the unranked tournament coming up here in the very, very near future, and want to kind of give the comparison because there's a lot of interest in it, and I think it should be interested, or it's very interesting. But I think there's some caveats to it that really needs to kind of be expressed as well. But before we do that, exciting news, I know. Updated Disney park rankings. We went to Disney on Saturday. First trip of 2023. It was apparently, I think this happens every year because we had friends that went up on the day before the Super Bowl last year. And we went to Magic Kingdom, which breaks my number one rule of Magic Kingdom, that unless you're staying at the park, do not go to Magic Kingdom, because it's an hour round trip of additional travel to get into the park that you would otherwise be able to just get straight into any park. Because at Magic Kingdom, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it is the one park at Disney where you cannot park at the theme park itself to go in. The way it's designed is meant for you to feel as if you're going into a new world, into this fantasy, old-timey Main Street, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, Adventureland, all of that. And so that means that you have to park at a parking lot far away and then take the monorail in to the actual entrance. And then once you get into the entrance, you can't see into the park because of the way it's designed. And then you you actually have to go up a very, very slight incline so you feel as if you're being welcomed into this world. The problem with that is, like I said, it adds 30 minutes of travel to get in, because you park, you have to walk, or you take a tram, which they just reinstated this year after being kind of shut down from COVID. You have to get that. That gets you to the Transportation and Ticket Center. From there, you have to wait in a long line to get on the monorail, which then gets you in to the actual entrance to the park. That takes about 30 minutes. So we were there for about 6 hours total. And again, an hour of that is spent literally getting in and out of the park. It's why Magic Kingdom remains number 4 on my list. Breaking news. No change in the top 4 power rankings. Disney parks. Epcot remains number 1. Animal Kingdom up to number 2. And then Hollywood Studios at number 3, which is a bit of a shocker, I think, because of my love of Star Wars, that it wouldn't be higher. But it stays at number 3. And then Magic Kingdom didn't move up the chain at all. It's still number 4. But to the point that I was making, this place was surrounded by high school chicks that are in cheerleading teams. So high school cheerleading teams probably would have been the better way to put that, but loaded with them everywhere. And it's chaos because these girls do not know, and I think this would be true if it was guys, so this is not a guy versus girl thing. They don't have conceptual awareness to know what the heck's going on around them, right? And these are huge groups of girls. There's like 20 in a group. And we were at one point walking, and this group, it was called the 15s, weird name. There was not 15 of them, spoiler alert. There was like 30 to 35 of them. And when they stopped to wait for their group to catch up in the middle of the walkway, it literally created a traffic jam because they took up the entire walkway. No one could get by them. So they have no understanding of the of the people around them, because they are 12, probably not 12, 15 to 17-year-olds, so of course they don't have a concept of anyone around them, just like nobody does at that age. And they just make it such a pain to get around. So for that reason, as well as the travel, Magic Kingdom stays number 4. And I know that's what everyone was waiting for. I just know that. So we should get tech on making a graphic for the Disney Power Rankings, Marsh's Disney Park Power Rankings. Somebody get on it. All right, on to what we really care about, SimWorld Hoops, right? Okay. So we've got the unranked tournament the unranked tournament, or however we want to call it, the guys that aren't on teams right now. And I think there's understandably a lot of excitement for what that's going to bring. We're going to have an opportunity for guys that are not currently rostered to get a chance to show out. This is great. It's a new opportunity. It's a new environment, and it's very different. So the Unsigned Hyped the tournament. It's a chance for them to play in an environment where no one else is going to be kind of having their sight set. Now, here's the thing. There's 2 problems with that. The first problem that I see, these guys are not going to be likely playing a game that is advantageous for a team environment. It's going to be very much, I need to show out. And if you go a couple minutes without getting a chance to touch the ball, it's going to be a negative impact on you. So I think that there's one caution. I think that if we see a massive performance by one of these guys, we need to take that with the grain of salt of, hey, maybe he's having a massive game because he's just not passing. Like when Corey Brewer dropped 50 points for the Wolves, like it wasn't as if we stopped and said, holy cow, Corey Brewer. Now, there's a walking bucket if I ever saw one. No, not really. It was, okay, Corey Brewer, the guy that's not really known for being a playmaker, got hot and scored a bunch. I think that's a very realistic possibility. So you're going to be potentially signing a guy that will take his individual success over that of the team's. That can be concerning to me. Second thing, these are guys that are generally, they're not rostered for a reason, right? It's not as if DJ Wagner, or I always want to put the Wagner, the German, the Franz, and the Mo onto DJ Wagner. It's not. He's definitely not German. I think I did it on a previous podcast where I just kept calling him DJ Wagner. It was great content if you go back and find it. But anyway, DJ Wagner is not showing up. Mackenzie Mbako is not showing up for the Unsigned Hype tournament on Thursday, 8 p.m. Houston. Tune in. But these are guys that are not rostered for a reason. And looking at the rosters as they exist right now, there's only one team. Philadelphia is the only team that has an open roster spot. Now, that doesn't mean that, let's say, we'll pick our favorite. Let's go H-Town Hoopers because it's in Houston. It's not that Coach U.B. Brown couldn't cut Aaron Matthews, not saying he's going to get cut, just saying it's not as if he's going to cut him to bring in one of these guys. That's probably unlikely, but it's possible. But for the most part, most of these rosters are set, and of course, that changes. We saw Heartland Zombies make a change when they signed VJ George Jr. today, which I thought is a good sign, but the reason Heartland Zombies is signing somebody is because Skinny Washington is your head coach who just got introduced to the league. So he's not a guy that's been like sitting there building this roster for months and months, and then about 2 weeks before the start of the season saying, you know what, maybe this is an opportunity to make a change. No, he's saying, hey, I've got an opportunity to add a guy like VJ George Jr. This isn't a roster that I personally constructed, and I'm going to get a chance to put my kind of spin on it. And he signs it big in a position of need. He didn't have anyone else. He had Ren Losi as the only other player at 7 feet, and Shia Winterton are the only other two on that roster prior to the signing of VJ George that are 6'8" or above. He needed to add big man depth, and he did that. It's a good signing for what this roster needs. I think a lot of these teams are pretty much in a really good spot. And here's where I'd make the comparison if you still don't believe what I'm saying. I think that the tournament, if we want to call it that, Unsigned Hype, is equivalent to the buyout market that we are seeing right now in the NBA. Okay? Let's take Danny Green, for example, who got bought out, and I think he signed with the Cavaliers. Danny Green returned from an injury, tore his ACL last year. He's playing for Memphis, and for about the last month, it kept talking out of Memphis. It's like, don't worry, Danny Green's coming back, and when he comes back, he's healthy, he's cleared, he's going to be a great piece to this team that's just got a bunch of defensive wings, regardless of what you think of the Grizzlies. Except Danny Green continued to not play. He continued to not play, whether that was a health or whether that was simply being good enough to get on the floor. And finally, in a deal on trade deadline, he's traded, and I can't remember who he was traded to, and he's subsequently bought out. Now he's going to sign, again, with, I think, Cleveland. But there's a reason that Danny Green was not traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Part of that is due to his contract. But there's a reason that he doesn't go to that organization right off the bat. Okay, there's a reason that Reggie Jackson wasn't traded directly to Denver when they traded Bones Highland away, I think, to the Clippers for 2 second-round picks. There's a reason that Reggie Jackson didn't go back there. Why is that? Because they don't really have that much value on the market. They're not being traded, and they're being bought out because teams are not willing to give up the requisite assets to bring them in when the contrary option is to sign them for a prorated veteran minimum for the next 3 months to have on their roster. And I think that that's what we're going to see quite a bit of in unsigned type. These are guys that are good in the right environment. They can survive. And one of these guys, if not multiple of them, are going to have really good seasons. I'm not here to say that it's impossible that these guys, anyone that's signed as a result of this tournament, that finds a roster spot, again, of which there's only one open, it's not impossible that they go out and they make their signing and they make an impact. But at the same time, there's a very realistic possibility that the players in this tournament are there for a reason and that they end up being end of rotation, end of bench guys. That's perfectly fine. And it's still beneficial that these types of opportunities exist. Just like it's always beneficial for the NBA to have an NBA combine and to have opportunities. I think they did a showcase, the G League showcase, where guys get to come out and play. Very rarely do you see one of those guys go from the G League showcase to starting on a title contender, or starting for any team in the NBA for that matter. And I think this is going to be very similar. So it's going to be exciting to watch. There's going to be a story that comes out of this that's exciting and that's inspiring potentially. But to think we're going to get a season-altering, an organizational-altering signing out of this, as exciting as it would be, is highly unlikely. But tune in, because there's nothing better than to be proven wrong. All right, we'll see you Thursday.